Now, from It to Salem's Lot, which is actually a decent segue. So from one horror to another very creepy movie.
Very similar. We can't talk about Stephen King without talking about the television miniseries, right? Yeah. So we go from it. I think Salem's Lot was his second book, right? I think after Carrie. It was also the second of his adapted works because Brian De Palma brought Carrie to the big screen. Tobe Hooper brought Salem's Lot to the small screen. Much like with It, we know the beats. We can fill out our Stephen King bingo card very easily, right? You have otherworldly, ancient evil, check. Comes to small town Maine, check. Faces his arch nemesis, who is a middling novelist, check. Who is there to face the demons of his childhood, check. If the school bully or the town bully will let him alone, check. So it's like all of the your whole bingo card is full. Like this is just his take. I think this was Stephen King's take, if I'm not mistaken, on Bram Stoker's Dracula, except rather than it being the aristocratic sophisticate, which I guess Anne Rice, in a few years after this, would go on to repopularize with Interview with the Vampire, really, because that was right afterward. Here, the vampire is an infection. Infestation, which you kind of see in the Marsten House when we get in there in the end, that is slowly creeping through the town. And the only thing that prevents the townspeople from really being able to notice it is that they're caught up in their own lives and their own affairs and their ambitions and idiosyncrasies and ignorances. And that's what allows sort of this infestation of vampires to spread. And I think that's definitely still relevant to me in 2025, right? These slow sort of creeping evils that we're maybe too busy sometimes to notice, even if the film, I guess, is a little bit dated. Watching it again for the first time in a little while, there's certainly some things you notice. But I do think there are certain things that are still indelible. I think the vision of the vampire that he presents, which is sort of an update on 1922 Nosferatu's Orlok, I think is really powerful. Boom Boom Bonnie's hair, 12 out of 10, no notes,
for real,
phenomenal. And just some of the scares, I think the atmosphere and the fear that Tobe Hooper is able to bring to it. I think that bedroom scene messed me up as well.
Let me in. It's okay, Mark, I'm your friend.
As a kid, when I saw this, I saw it a few years after it released, and I could not go to bed unless my window was like shut, bolted, blinds drawn, and if I heard anything outside, I was under the blanket. I think that scene, the way that it's shot, the way that they put that actor on a boom crane instead of on wires, the way that the fog was shot and then it was rolled backward to look unsettling. I think
is that what they did?
Yeah, so they shot it and then they reversed it so that it cool. What you're watching is it play in reverse, so it looks foreign. So instead of the smoke spreading in the way that we would normally appreciate it, it sort of shrinks in a way that is very unnatural. The boys' movements are very unnatural. They just look, the uncanny valley, they look a little left of center. You can't place it. I think that stuff was great. So again, despite the sort of made-for-TV budget, which I know, and the codes, which hampered a lot of maybe what we would consider to be more modern horror, I just think it's an adaptation that kind of gets a lot of stuff right, including being able to condense the book and its myriad characters and storylines into something that still sort of maintained its themes. Yeah, I don't know.
So
what did you guys
read
think?
The book too?
A long time ago.
Oh, cool. Wow.
Yeah. Not recently. I just remember it being a lot like It.
Yeah.
Well, Danny Glick. Yeah, I mean, that's the scene that everybody remembers. And as a kid, I used to be afraid of, because I lived in a house in the Bronx and there was an alleyway and there was a window that if I just turned around in my bunk bed, I would see this window. And I would always imagine, I remember there was a movie called Emerald Forest where this kid was kidnapped by these tribes. And
just stay where I see, okay? They're taking Tommy! Tommy!
Stuff, and I was so afraid. And I'm in the Bronx. Why would I be afraid of like a tribe coming into my window and taking me out of everyone else? That shows the self-importance I had in my mind. But
ego formation. That's fine. It's the right stage.
But also after seeing that, I imagined that scenario. I would have never gone to sleep if I saw that at that age, seeing Danny Glick just come up and just frightening, especially that was his best friend, and then all of a sudden,
of course,
you know, your best friend becomes something that you just don't even recognize, but you still see him as your best friend. There's a lot of confliction in it, but the utter fear is just intense. So
You're
that
right,
film,
yeah.
it's that part, and also Barlow with the priest.
I'm a priest. A priest.
Has a lot to do with faith and the loss of faith, and it gets really intense. So I mean, those are the things, but definitely Danny Glick is the one that sticks out for me.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's such a phenomenal scene, and you're right. And the priest is one of those examples. I mean, he's a more fleshed out character in the novel, and he's an alcoholic, and he's struggling with his faith. And I think, and credit to the writer whose name I forget at this time, but what they were able to do in such short space, you still really feel that character and what he's going through. Even with very limited real estate, I just think they did a really good job, of condensing some of that stuff down. Yeah, and the glowing eyes also, I just think works. It's really effective.
So creepy. This is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen it, don't watch this part.
Yes.
But at the end, when he unalives his love interest, who's now a vampire.
Oh, I was just thinking about that.
In that moment, I kind of wanted him to not be able to resist her. Did you guys feel that? Like I was like, I kind of want to see this go the other way.
Yes,
because he brings out and he just stabs her, and I'm like, no, I don't believe he really could have done that.
Yeah.
Not as easily.
I felt.
I agree. That's great.
I was just thinking as you guys were talking, like that made me feel sad. That
yeah,
last
it
scene.
made
I
me
was
sad,
like,
and
this
she was
is
so
sad.
beautiful
What would you
and
do?
tempting. And I was like, is he really gonna kill her? Like, come on, he's gonna fall for her charm.
Right, because she's so beautiful.
Yeah,
she looks
and he was so
there.
into her, and they were so cute.
Yeah, I felt bad.
And then it leaves the boy perhaps on his own without this person who he's there with. Now that's a really interesting, maybe more modern ending. I think what they were looking for in that bookend, right, is like as a character, he originally arrives in Salem's Lot because he's trying to put a stake in his past. He's trying to, and so this is sort of like a bookend where he's able to exercise some part of his past. But I do think you're right. It's making it more clean is much less interesting and compelling. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I love seeing Fred Willard.
Now hold it up in front of your face.
I know.
Yeah.
I was so used to seeing him in like Best in Show and Christopher Guest movies. I knew he'd had a full career before then, but I forgot that he was in it. So seeing him in this movie, which I'd never seen before.
Yeah,
I
I'd
was
never seen it either.
Yeah, I'd never seen it. So I was like, oh my God, love him.
A young Fred Willard.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Lewis.
Yeah.
Juliette Lewis's father. He was in one of my favorite action films, Double Impact with Van Damme as a kid.
Oh my God.
If you love horror, you get into the cheesy martial arts film.
Oh, you just opened a box. I haven't thought about that movie in so long.
Double Impact. But he's been in so many other films, and he's that great character actor. And to see him and his transformation, I mean, they had a really good cast.
Absolutely.
They really did.
Same thing with It. I mean, the television miniseries, and even with Sometimes They Come Back was a television event, wasn't it?
That's a good. I think it was made for the theater. No, I'm pretty sure, but
I couldn't remember.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think originally, from my understanding, was that they were looking at television, but then they had I think it may be a limited theatrical release.
Okay. It's the opposite of Salem's Lot, right? Where they were trying to get it in a theater and then moved it to television. So.
Yeah, so it seems like there's always that tension with Stephen King. Should we do the miniseries or should we put it up in a theatrical release?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. It's an interesting problem or conundrum to come up against.
Yeah,
it's a nice one. I wish we still had those problems.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
seriously.
I mean, wouldn't that be great? Say, I'm going to make a lot of money. Where do I want television?
I know.
The theater. I'm still, still going to be loved. So does it really matter?
Oh my God, different time.
Well,
thank you guys for watching all 72
I
hours of Salem's
I
Lot.
really enjoyed it.
And the bonus features. We certainly love the bonus features and that.